You're listening to an episode recorded during the time Innovation Fuel was part of University Canada West. We are proud and grateful for the work we've done together, and we want to thank the university for being in our podcast. We are now excited to continue the journey of Innovation Fuel into its next chapter. Thanks for listening. Hello, everyone, and welcome to Innovation Fuel, the podcast that brings you fantastic stories from entrepreneurs and key industry professionals. I am Dave Kiran.
And I am Gelare Farhadian. We are educators, entrepreneurs, and your hosts. Innovation Fuel is our weekly business podcast brought to you by University Canada West. Each week, we explore diverse business models, entrepreneur journeys, experts' insight, and managerial challenges, and how companies stay agile and innovative during COVID-19. Check out our episodes at www.ucanwest.ca/innovationfuel. Hello, Dave. How are you today?
Hi, Galari. I'm doing great. You?
I'm fine. Fantastic. It's a Women's Day, huh?
Yes. I had some great celebrations the other day, International Women's Day. I was celebrating the wonderful people I have around me. I have my colleague and a co-anchor here, Galari. I have my producer, Rafa. I have all the assistants we have, Denisha and Andrea, that are here supporting this wonderful show and the initiatives that we do, bringing these wonderful guests and all the great women guests we have out there. I salute you all. Thank you.
Thank you, Dave. The society needs all the people, women and men, and we need the support of our colleagues, such as you, Dave, come with a brilliant idea like Innovation Fuel Podcast. Thanks to you. Today, you know what we have? Today, we have one of very powerful woman leader in BC.
Whoa, who's this?
We have Anita Huberman, and she's the CEO of Surrey Board of Trade. And Surrey Board of Trade, as you know, that is going to be one of the largest city in BC soon. They have many industries, universities, big populations, and even they have affordable housing there. So it's a really great area for businesses, small businesses, entrepreneurs, immigrants, indigenous people, for all of those. And Surrey Board of Trade has a very important role in their ecosystem there.
Yeah, it's pretty amazing because I live in Surrey, so I'm experiencing this every day. Yes, Surrey is growing quite rapidly, and a lot of this, and I think you're talking about Anita, and Anita has done some amazing things with the Surrey Board of Trade in connecting both the businesses, the community, the governance, and some other things to make Surrey and head down that path to being the largest city in BC. I think their goal is by 2030 to be the largest city in BC.
And we just want to talk about it as a woman in this very prestigious positions, what her challenges is and what she can bring to her society as a woman.
Great. Let's get into chatting with Anita.
Welcome, Anita Huberman, the CEO of Surrey Board of Trade.
Yes, welcome, Anita, to our show, the Innovation Fuel podcast here. We're so glad to have you here on the show. We're so glad and we're so happy to learn more about you and the Surrey Board of Trade. But first, Anita, tell us a little bit about you. How did you end up as the CEO of the Surrey Board of Trade?
Well, I started at the Surrey Board of Trade when I was 19 years old. I worked my summers one day a week in order to pay for tuition for university. And when I graduated with a bachelor's degree in communications, minor in European history from Simon Fraser University, I actually left the Board of Trade for a little bit, went to work for the Royal Bank for almost a year, in their customer service management program, and discovered banking wasn't for me. The Board of Trade was hiring, and I got the job again and started from the front desk position and worked my way up to executive assistant, events manager, operations manager. And at the age of 32, I applied for the top job, and it was it wasn't something that was normal for a young lady, a South Asian woman, to apply for such a prestigious position. But I did it. I worked really hard. I got the job. It was really hard to get, through 4 or 5 different interviews with the board of directors. At the time, I worked 12, 14-hour days in order to ensure that I was able to rebuild the organization and build our profile and build the profile of Surrey. Surrey is going to be the largest city in British Columbia by 2030.
Yeah, that is interesting. So, just one question: what part of this job was interesting for you as a young Anita?
It was the ability to be entrepreneurial, to do something different every single day. Every day is not normal. It's not, you come in at 9 and the day ends at 5. You're interfacing with different stakeholders, different politicians. You're creating entrepreneurial opportunities to drive our organization. Even though we're a not for profit, I run the organization like a business. And so every single day, every single month is very different because I'm very driven, I'm very ambitious, and I want to make sure that we differentiate ourselves from the competition. And we've certainly done that. It's my 15th year as CEO this year.
Yeah, congratulations. 15 years and so during those 15 years, being a woman in leadership, what challenges have you faced in this role?
Well, in the beginning, the challenges were I was the only woman around the corporate table most times, or around the board table. I was a woman that was young. I was of South Asian origin. I was the first South Asian to actually lead a Board of Trade Chamber of Commerce in Canada. There's 450 of us altogether. And the other challenge that I faced is, I come from, working hard to get to where I want to be. I don't come from an established family or political ties. So I really had to build my brand and to show that, I could do what was needed to be done, that I had the ideas to connect the dots and create some leadership-oriented initiatives to really drive our economy locally, provincially, and nationally.
So, Anita, you're mentioning 2 times as a young woman to be in the prestigious job. So I understand you totally that it's not going to be easy. I am from Middle East as well. So and I can see that you want to talk about this part more. So please tell me that what part of this job is more challenging for you as a young Anita and young woman leader in the leadership position?
Well, the only aspect, as indicated, was really the fact that I had to prove myself. And, there's nothing wrong with that. Certainly in any position that you start right from the beginning, you want to be able to prove yourself. But, when you're a woman, when you are a woman of multicultural background, there are challenges related to that. And people see you differently. They see you through a different lens. But you have to push past that. And it was challenging. You have to make sure that you don't let emotions get into play either, that you focus on the facts and you drive forward. And I've learned that along the journey. And I'm not saying it was easy, but certainly I've learned many lessons.
You said that you shouldn't emotion play part of your decisions, but a lot of our decisions are not very rational. It's more about our intuitive decisions, as emotion is part of it. And so how can you say that it's just was fact based most of your decisions?
Well, certainly you have a gut-based reaction on how to act and move forward, but you do have to gather the facts and you have to gather it from all perspectives in order to make that decision. You just can't act emotionally to anything, and whether that's in your professional life, even in your personal life, you have to gather the facts. And that really is the way forward for any decision that you make in your life.
So when we talk about this, Anita, and this comes down to the conversation around, we call it, emotional intelligence and leadership. And we see this change in I kind of see this change in emotional intelligence now that we're going to this sort of virtual world of how are serving our individuals in a different way. But when you say that gut feeling and that element, do you feel like that women have more of that connection with emotional intelligence than men do? Or is it, that's kind of the emotional intelligence piece around where does it sit with you, and how does it sit being a woman leader versus compared to a male leader?
Well, I never like to generalize between men and women in that way. Usually, the DNA built within women allows them to, a higher emotional intelligence IQ, perhaps. Given that mainly when you're a female leader, not only are you responsible for your career or your business, you're responsible for family obligations, for your children. Women face so many challenges that, men don't. And men face challenges too, let's face it. And I think we have to recognize that as a human race, that we all bring different skills and different challenges to the table. But, during the pandemic, this whole concept of emotional intelligence really came to the fore because, as a leader, whether you're a man or a woman, you had to not only run your business, you not only had to survive in terms of keeping your employees safe, you had to ask them, how are you feeling? Are you feeling safe? Are the health and safety protocols that we put into our business, are they making you feel safe? Sometimes there's a sense of nervousness about the pandemic. When we closed our doors almost a year ago, people were facing such uncertainty and anxiety about the future because we had never faced a pandemic ever, in this generation and even in the previous generation. So the whole human population was facing something together for the first time in a long time. And when you're in the workplace, you have the added element of keeping your business alive, but also keeping your staff safe, not only from a physical perspective, but also an emotional perspective.
Absolutely right. And I've seen that you bought some sport equipment for your employees as well. So yeah, it was really thoughtful. So because we are working from home, most of us, not all of us, and then we are sitting in front of the computer for 8 hours or even more. We don't have even time for go for coffee, and it was very thoughtful. By sitting and doing exercise is showing that how you're caring about your employees. What is your, as a role of the CEO of Board of Trade, how you're empowering other women in your society or even in Surrey, for example, in your region?
Well, I think in my role as a CEO, my opportunity is always to speak to women about that they can aspire to, things that they can achieve within their life. And I've been a mentor to so many women, just simply listen to some of our female members that have asked to speak with me to get some guidance, whether it's in their business or even within their own personal lives. Sometimes, some women, they do just need someone to talk to in order to get to that next level. And I think every female leader has an obligation to be a mentor, to be able to listen, to offer advice. And then it's up to the recipient to take what they've learned and have it fit within the structure of what they want in their future.
So, and Anita, on the side of it, like of say, leader, you're CEO of Surrey Board of Trade, but there's a bigger picture here because you're a community leader, being in the space of now transitioning from that leader of the Surrey Board of Trade to actually being a community leader and driving this goal of converting Surrey to be the biggest city in the BC. There's a big piece there. And what's the difference between being a leader of the CEO of the Surrey Board of Trade to being that community leader? Is there a difference?
Huge difference. Like sometimes it's like being a politician. You're trying to instigate change at different levels of government. You're listening to different stakeholders, businesses, residents, understanding what their needs are, and trying to create results for them. So you are being pulled in so many different directions as a community leader. And you need to instigate initiatives. You need to act on or respond to a variety of issues at any given time. I mean, for example, on a daily basis, in my head are 50 to 60 different issues that I have to respond to or connect the dots for or strategize. That's the difference between driving change at the community level to being a leader within, just a company, which is also challenging too. I'm not saying that's not challenging, but there are so many different areas that our industry as a community stakeholder focuses on.
Absolutely. So, can you just a little bit explain the ecosystems of the Surrey as the largest city in the BC, and explain a bit of entrepreneurial ecosystems in BC Surrey that we can have a better understanding there?
So Surrey's business community, like British Columbia, like Canada, approximately 98% are small and medium-sized businesses. And so that's under 500 employees. That's nothing to sneeze at. Some are micro businesses, as one person businesses. We're a diverse industry base. We have the greatest number of manufacturers within British Columbia that ship locally, nationally, and internationally. We have an international docking facility that receives and exports goods all over the world. And we have a very active development and construction sector. About 27% of Metro Vancouver's employable or industrial lands are within Surrey. So we're still able to build businesses, whereas Vancouver is building up. Our housing, some would say, is more affordable than in Vancouver, but Surrey is, becoming less affordable. We're building a lot of residential. We're building some purpose-built rental. The whole housing paradigm, which is, a true element, a true foundation of for anyone, to have a good quality home, and then, to have a job or a career or build a business. You can do all of that in Surrey. You can live, learn, work, and play in our city. And I think, we're a border city with a docking facility, with our manufacturing community. We're going to be the largest city in British Columbia. We're faring very well in this economy, even during the pandemic. 30,000 jobs have been recovered since the pandemic began last March. We have 9,000 jobs left to recover. We're doing better than, many areas within our nation.
So this is really great to understand about it, but I want to back to the women and how these ecosystems support the women entrepreneurs in the Surrey, and there is any specific program or incentive in the area that we can there support the women entrepreneurs in Surrey.
So at the Surrey Board of Trade, through our business center, we have a women's entrepreneurial program. So it's not only about an event that we have every year, but it's an ecosystem of support, whether it's support for local businesses or providing global business connections to local businesses for female entrepreneurs, whether it's mastermind tables to provide mentorship support for female entrepreneurs. If female entrepreneurs need advice or information or connections or advocacy, we do all of that as well. And for youth, we have a very similar program as well for youth entrepreneurs, for immigrant entrepreneurs, for Indigenous entrepreneurs. So, as I mentioned, we have such a diverse portfolio of services, and many women have found the Surrey Board of Trade to be one of their great assets in building their business from the ground up. And certainly we have received many testimonials in that regard.
Yeah, that is fantastic, because it was my question about immigrant entrepreneurs. So you have a specific program for them?
It's very similar to what we do for women entrepreneurs and youth. So, we're part of Surrey's Local Immigration Partnership Table, where we're connecting newcomers to wraparound supports. But at the same time, we're linking them to demand. to businesses, to get experience, to, really ensure that they're engaged and inclusive within the community and within our entrepreneurial ecosystem. So a very similar model, but it's all under the paradigm of our business center here at the Surrey Board of Trade.
So, and Anita, one of the things that we notice as we're going and we're dealing with, mostly at UCW, we deal with a lot of international students that are coming here with great backgrounds. They're coming from other places with amazing backgrounds, but then they come here and there's this lack of communication of like that lack of, they're not recognized because they don't have that Canadian experience and they don't have that element. And even when you take, for example, entrepreneurial pieces too, the funding is only really for Canadian citizens, and there's lack of funding to support these elements. Yet we want to open our borders because Surrey wants to be the biggest city, and Canada needs more individuals like this as border tax base. How do we support that? How does the Surrey Board of Trade help convert that and help open those doors?
Well, we've been advocating for some time to the federal government that they need to change the way that they bring immigrants or refugees into Canada. So in their country of origin, they really need to express the reality of what's happening on the Canadian ground, that sometimes their credentials are not going to be recognized within Canada, or they need specific connections around starting a business even before they come to Canada. It is not easy to be a newcomer within our country. And I think every newcomer needs to understand that. It's not this rosy picture. And it's been a problem, since the 60s. My parents came to Canada in the late 60s. It's been an ongoing problem, a mismatching of training, of skills, of jobs. And the solution is related to not only our advocacy, but also that of our national head office at the Canadian Chamber of Commerce in Ottawa. But it's also really integral that we are focusing on specific private sector partnerships with those people that are skilled, that are coming into this country so that they can get that Canadian experience. 5 years ago, we held 4 different industry sector roundtables, 10 newcomers on one side and 10 businesses on the other side. And there were 4 separate sessions. One was construction and development. The second was health and technology. The third was manufacturing. And the fourth one, I can't remember, but certainly they were all well attended. There was some matching. There was some ability for Canadian employers to provide newcomers with experience. And sometimes it's the associations are the challenge in order to recognize credentials. So if you're from Iran and you're a heart surgeon, and you want to practice in Canada or in British Columbia, your experience needs to be recognized by that provincial medical association, or you might need to be retrained or whatever that is. There really needs to be a key communication and structured pathway for newcomers so that they're not left out in the cold.
Mm-hmm. Exactly. So we have some students, they are engineer and they have more than 10 years background in the engineering field, but they cannot apply for PNG or PENG because they are not PR or citizen. So this is, it's a vicious circle that we will stay there. You cannot go further because you cannot apply for specific designations or associations. You cannot because you're not Canadian in total. So, and then when you are not working in your area, for example, in 2 or 3 years, you don't have a confidence most of the time to restart to work on your expertise. You think that for 3 years, everyone telling you, I'm sorry, you are not qualified enough. So then after 3 years, when I became a citizen, it's really, really tough to believe in myself again. For example, I understand that it's not everything is related to the Board of Trades or Chamber of Commerce, but do you think how we can play our parts to help these newcomers to not lose confidence in themselves, still hanging there and work? Yeah.
Well, I think the number one thing is that when a newcomer comes to Canada, federal government, they need to match them up with a service organization, of which there are many within Surrey, such as diversity, progressive intercultural services, success. All of those service organizations are members of the Surrey Board of Trade because they see it of great value to link their newcomer clients to the business community so that they can interact with them either at events or on a one-on-one basis through mentorship. There needs to be a structured partnership between that immigrant and between the private sector in order to ensure that they're not losing faith, that they're building their momentum towards wherever they want to be in their career or in their entrepreneurship journey. We can't give up on people, and they can't be lost in the system either. And we see so many newcomers, for example, they're engineers or they're driving a taxi, or they're doing something else. The number one thing we have to realize, and to your listeners, is that even during the pandemic, post-pandemic, we are going to face a significant labor shortage in a variety of industries. We need newcomers. We need that structured matching. And Canadians are not having enough babies in order to fill the jobs of today and tomorrow. So we need newcomers to be part of Canadian society. We can learn from each other and to ensure that we have a prosperous economic future for Canada.
Perfect. Thank you very much. Do you think, is there any question related to the woman entrepreneurship or women leader that we haven't asked you?
Well, I think during the pandemic, what has really been evident is that women have had to stay at home. They've been left, out of the workforce. Some have, been very lucky, to keep their jobs and or to run their businesses, to support their families. But the pandemic really, and they were saying this on International Women's Day on March the 8th, read RBC report that the pandemic has put women back into where we were in the 90s in terms of job options, job availabilities. Childcare options are still so limited. Quality, affordable childcare. It is an economic issue. So many governments that I've dealt with, even when I started as CEO, said to me, why is the Board of Trade focused on childcare? Well, childcare is a business issue.
Exactly.
We,
Yes.
we need affordable quality childcare so women can enter the market, be part of the workforce, start businesses, create those good quality jobs, and still be able to support their families and be a partner with their spouse.
Exactly. After schools, it's so expensive for parents. And not all the parents can afford to have a after schools program. Absolutely right. It actually is a business issues. You're right. So is there any challenges that you want to ask from students?
Well, the challenge that, I would say to all students is that as you're nurturing your skills, as you're learning the knowledge towards whatever career or entrepreneurial journey that you want to embark on, you need to ensure that you're also developing your soft skills. And that is the face-to-face communication. That is the written, the verbal, establishing a rapport with your clients. All of those are just so important. And we're all salespeople to a certain extent. And I always say the only way to make a sale is by developing a relationship. And you can really only do that face to face, not through technology or by texting or by emailing. It really is focused on that human interaction that we do not want to lose.
I love it. I love it. I think the big message here is coming is networking and mentoring, and this element. Anita, you speak volumes about the element of women and the job situation. We know that it's been very dire in this last situation with COVID. It's created a lot of challenges. We know that more than 1 in 5 people are being laid off are women more than men, from these positions, and we need to change that storyboard. We need to get women back where they were and above where they are. And this conversation has been wonderful. Thank you so much for your time. We would love to have you back to talk about some more thing around maybe the resources and trade that we're around Surrey and the greater BC. But for now, thank you very much for your time today.
Thank you.
Thank you, Anita. So, Dave, you know that we pilot our internship, and you actually, the reasons that we have the internship program, thanks to you. And the pilot was really great. It means the students love it. We, as a UCW, actually get benefit from internship as well. We give them opportunity to our students to come be internship. And one of their internship, Danisha Cole, she was helping Innovation Fuel podcast for promotions, for operation. And we really enjoyed working from her. And she actually added a great value to Innovation Fuel podcast. I really want to say thank you to Danisha and to all of those other students that helping us to UCW grow and be more recognizable. And we are here to help you all to get a job and make a brand for your employer.
Yes, thank you, Danisha. Thank you, our internship students. They're out there building the brand for UCW for future students and yourself. Thank you very much. Let's continue the success. To all entrepreneurs and managers out there, we have ambitious students here at UCW who would love to hear from you and help you with your business through our internship, our capstone program. If you think you have a wonderful story or a challenge that you want to share with our students and our audience that you think they can benefit from, we want to hear from you. We want that information. We want you to be a part of this show. We also want you to join our mentorship program. We've got a great mentorship program to help students as they move on their educational journey towards getting into a career or launching a new opportunity. So reach out to us, connect with us at www.ucanwest.ca/Innovation Fuel.
You have just listened to the Innovation Fuel podcast with your hosts, Dave and Gillary. Subscribe to our podcast on Apple, Google, or Spotify. Join us next week for another innovative story. Thank you for listening and have a great week.